Hi everyone, Pittikatti here. Last time I added a new weapon and worked on a game feel. This time I'm going to be adding a new enemy and show some progress with our new map. I started by cutting out the sprites in a sprite sheet and setting up the animations using animated sprite 3D. I also made some states for the enemy. After the basic states were set up, it was time to code. First, I just told the enemy to follow the player and play walk animation while doing so. And if the enemy gets close enough, it plays the attack animation. I wanted the enemy to hide when it's out of the attack range and pop up from the ground after it reaches the correct range. This turned out to be way harder than I first expected. So let's get into why it was so hard. First of all, I tried to control and time stages using on-animation finish signal, but I couldn't figure out how it works. I tried everything and nothing seemed to do the job. After that, I tried to put all the stages in the process delta, which is the update loop, and tried to control them with booleans. The code started to be unreadable and editing was getting very hard. So I decided to use enums and states. It cleaned up the code, but the same problem still persisted. It's really hard to control the animations with precisions using booleans. The problem was that the states were overlapping a lot. It caused a lot of edge cases, like if the player was almost inside the range, the flower kept going up and down again. It never triggered the correct state. I also tried to use timers, but the code started to get way too hard to manage, so I decided to start from the scratch. This time I had a new idea. Instead of checking the distance to the player using code, I decided to use colliders because colliders generate signals, and with signals I don't have to use so many booleans. The flower started to work immediately a lot better than it worked before. It was way smoother and much more easier to control. While testing the flower, I noticed it's hard for the player to tell where the enemies are when the flowers are underground. So I took one of the frames from the hiding animation and used it as underground sprite. Now the player can tell where the flower goes and can actually react to them. My artist made an attack animation and I set it up using the animator. So the animator turns it on and off at the correct parts of the animation. Now then, after playing around with the enemies and after fighting them over and over again, a new problem started to show up. They are not fun to fight against and they don't really fit into the game as they are now. So it's time to write the code again. This time, the attack will be ranged attack. Now, the idea is that the enemy follows the player around and gets close and starts firing projectiles at the player. The player can only destroy the flower while the flower is standing. So basically, when you see the flower. Making these changes was pretty straightforward because I could just use the knight as a reference. Now, the flower is much more fun to fight and it kinda feels like it fits into the game. I also added colliders to the forest map and my artist made a small visual changes like the river you see on the screen right now. Looks kinda like jam. This video only has one addition because the flower took much more time than I first expected and I was busy with other stuff last week. I hope you still enjoyed the video, and if you like stuff like this, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.